And welcome into the Monday edition. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Hope everybody's off to a wonderful start here on this Monday morning. It is Christmas this week. We have limited time with you this week, and boy, do we have a lot of things to discuss. Titans and Preds can't stop winning. Professional sports vibes are high in this town. A lot of stuff going on around here, Joe. Good morning. How we doing?
Yeah, we're doing it. There's a lot of winning going on. I'm doing pretty well considering I'm up 130 to 106 on the number one seed in the Robby and Rexrode Fantasy Football League. Now, you do have Jonathan Taylor tonight, and I have lost actually a championship with Edger and James going nuts on me on Monday Night Football. I still carry the scars from that, so I'm not going to gloat yet. Also 4-1 with my lock and pigskin pick'em, so I'm doing a hell of a lot better than the non-playoff going Detroit Lions.
Yeah, I mean, just a 13-1 regular season for me in the Robby and Rexrode Fantasy Football League, totally dominant. And this weekend, Jordan Love plays 2 series. Devontae Adams' hamstring decides to act up, and I suck. Not going to win. Just all for naught.
To be fair, Jordan Love got 3.78, and my injured quarterback, Lamar Jackson, got 4.74.
That's true.
So.
Yeah. High-level production.
Quarterback battle.
Yeah. High-level production from the QBs on that front. Ian Safar, how we doing? What's going on?
Good morning. Doing okay. It was an okay weekend of football. Not good on the picks. At least the Patriots pulled out my lock for me. Barely last night. So not a good weekend of picks, but it looks like I will be facing off in the fantasy football championship against the winner of whoever pulls off.
It's going to be Rexrode.
So assuming Jonathan Taylor doesn't go too crazy, it looks like I'll be playing Joe in the championship.
An all-show battle.
Don't jinx anything. Jonathan Taylor getting 24 points is,
it's definitely doable.
You got San Francisco's defense too, though. So
points. Okay, so
Grandpa Rivers may throw a few lollipops tonight, and that'll be it.
That's true. I could use a couple arm punts. Phil, help me out.
We got a lot going on the program today. Obviously, we're going to get into the Titans and their big win against the Kansas City Chiefs, which, as I'm looking at tankathon.com, Joe, has taken them from number 3 to number 6 in the draft order, which I'm sure Titans fans will love that part of it. But, we will get into the Titans throughout the show today. Welcome your thoughts at 615-737-1025. It was, trying to think of the right word for it. I don't know if it's interesting. Eventful weekend on the college football playoff front that we'll get into a little bit later in the show as well. Thank God we got to waste our time watching James Madison and Tulane play. Who could have possibly seen that coming? We'll get into that a little bit later in the program as well. And Corey Curtis from News 2 for his weekly visit at 8 o'clock, which I'm sure will not be fun for me to start that off with how the Packers-Bears game ended this weekend. Good stuff.
Ooh, yeah, there is that too.
A lot of stuff going on the program today. Joe, the Titans get it done in dominant fashion. They win 26-9 against the Kansas City Chiefs. And frankly, it could have been worse. I mean, they were by far the better team in this game. Gardner Minshew goes down in the game. He finished 3 of 8 with 15 yards passing. And then Chris Oladokun coming in the game for the Kansas City Chiefs, playing at quarterback. So that kind of shows you where the Chiefs were in that game yesterday. Cam Ward, 21 of 28, 228 yards, 2 touchdowns, a quarterback rating of 122.3. And, Joe, all the Titans do now is get into the mid-20s and maybe low 30s when they play football games. An offensive juggernaut. They're winning games. What'd you make of the Titans and their game against Kansas City yesterday?
Well, they got screwed out of 30 points.
Did.
Like they showed Jeff Simmons reporting eligible, and they took that beautiful Tony Pollard touchdown off the board. So it could have been worse for the Chiefs, better for the Titans, like you said. Good win. We wondered last week, like, okay, Gardner Minshew, you've just been knocked out of the playoffs. You are a team that you're a franchise that's only happy winning Super Bowls. Travis Kelce came back pissed off because he lost a Super Bowl last year. So tell me how much you've got in the tank, Chiefs. And I do remember, after the safety, which was just, great play by Jeff Simmons, but also completely unblocked.
Yeah.
Jeff Simmons, Trey Smith screaming at somebody to wake the fart up. And I liked that fire from Trey Smith, but I didn't think there was too much. So, that is, let's be real about the Chiefs. It's just, it's a couple more games and it's, retirements and whatever and vacations. But still, the Tennessee Titans are playing better football. They have figured some things out. Again, they're doing some things. This is what we're saying. This is what I say, like every time after one of these games where they've physically batter an opponent, they're doing what I thought they might be able to do this year, which is to push people around, move the line of scrimmage, and run the ball and possess the ball a little bit. And then I thought Cam Ward was that his best game? I mean, it's one of his better games. Yeah, pretty good game from Cam Ward.
Yeah, I thought he was really good. And, he didn't have to do a ton in that game, but, I mean, there was a drive, I think it may have been the first drive of the second half where he made two of his best throws of the year, like back-to-back on that drive. Really good stuff from him there. He was consistent. I can't think, and maybe I just missed it, Joe, I can't think of a play yesterday where he just flat out missed one. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not thinking of it at the moment, but I can't think of one off the top of my head where he just flat out missed it. And we've been talking about that. Like it feels, there have been moments every week over the past few weeks where, it's like, wow, what a play by Cam Ward. And it's clear that he's getting better, but there also have been some throws that you just cannot miss as a starting quarterback in the NFL. And I didn't think there was one of those yesterday. I mean, I guess there was one on the sideline to Helm where he's open and Helm couldn't get that other foot down really early in the game. And they buzzed it and looked back at his right foot there coming down in bounds. You'd like to see that ball get completed. But I didn't feel like there was any egregious misses from Cam Ward yesterday, unless my memory is just failing me less than 24 hours later.
There was one over the middle to DK also there where he kind of sailed it, although I thought DK maybe got a little alligator arms on that one, and maybe it could have been closer with a little bit more extension. But yeah, that's about it. Nothing played. And again, what you mentioned, those two throws, I think both of them were outside the numbers, right?
Yes.
I think so. Certainly the one to DK was, but yeah, the one to Io Manor was too. So that's what we've been talking about. Is it outside the numbers? Is it more downfield? I mean, both of those plays were had some air travel and were outside the numbers and were dead on perfect. So I just thought I thought, a couple times getting out and running a little bit too, to just take advantage of an opportunity to get a few yards, which in some weeks he's done, and in some weeks it's like he just hasn't done it all. So it feels like when he does that a couple times, that almost leads to a better overall performance.
Yeah, and then running the ball, that's what they've been able to do the last few weeks. And 164 yards on the ground yesterday for the Titans. Pollard with 102, averaging 4.9 carry. So he continues to run the ball well in the last part of the season here. Spears had 13 for 52. Spears had another 53 in the receiving game as well. So over 100 yards total of offense from Tajay Spears yesterday, which was good to see. And again, I mean, you're talking about a receiving core right now that, I mean, their veteran leader at the moment is Van Jefferson. So it's not like they're going to make a ton of plays out there, but Io Manor, 3 catches, 58 yards. Helm, 2 catches on 3 targets again. Jim DK, 3 catches on 40 yards. Chig had a couple of big plays in the game. I mean, it's clear that the offense is getting better and that they've found something. The offensive line has found something here, and it's been good to see over the last few weeks. I mean, what did Kansas City ended up with 2 sacks and 5 quarterback hits in this game. So it's never perfect out there, but it's now 3 weeks in a row, Joe, where you look at the performances since the Jacksonville game, and you're talking 31 points, 24 points, 26 points that they've put up. Cam Ward has 6 touchdowns to 1 interception in that span. And, you're talking about a 75% completion percentage yesterday, 62.1 against San Francisco. Like they're getting better. And we talked about that all year long. Forever, it felt like they really weren't. There wasn't a whole lot of progress that was getting made. And towards the last part of the year here, and I understand, what's going on with Kansas City, but they are clearly getting better, which I think, even if you're a Titans fan that's freaking out about draft position right now, isn't it good to see like the young quarterback and the young offense showing some signs of improvement at the end of the year?
Yeah, I know we're going to get into this, and we will, and I'm sure it'll be interesting, but I will have no understanding whatsoever today for the Titans fan who's purely just pissed off because of what's happened with the draft positioning. This is, we had this debate before with Kaharski, right? Like, the value of winning and all that stuff. And to me, it's like, if it's like at the end of the year and you could get the one, ooh, man, it like, does that win that keeps you out of the one spot? Is it really going to help you that much? But like you said, there's a young core right now that's improving. And so when you can improve to the point of also winning and kind of learning how to win, getting used to winning, understanding what it takes to win while improving, yeah, that's definitely what you want.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. We're off and running today here on Robby and Rexrode. Titans win 26-9 against Kansas City. We'll take your reaction to the game yesterday, your thoughts on Cam Ward and the offense's performance. More on that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
It was the first time we played good enough complementary all three phases. Defense, I think they kept us in the game the entirety, part of it, especially when we had our 3-and-outs, but, it was a good team win.
That's Cam Ward after the game yesterday. Titans win 26-9 against the Kansas City Chiefs. Taking your thoughts on the Titans offense and the improvement that we're seeing at the end of the year here. 615-737-1025. Cam Ward, 21-28, 228 yards, 2 touchdowns, quarterback rating of 122.3 yesterday. And you can certainly make the argument that that was his best game as a member of the Titans, if not certainly one of his best games as a member of the Tennessee Titans. And Joe, by the way, I mean, they won a game at home, which they've not done in a long time, over a calendar year. So good to see the Titans be able to pick up a home win yesterday as well. And I thought Jeffrey Simmons had some really interesting comments on what the win means, on Cam Ward and his development, and a pretty bold statement that he made after the game yesterday in terms of how he views it. Here's what Jeffrey Simmons had to say after the Titans win yesterday.
Just like today, like I told him, I mean most, passing yards in Titan history for a rookie. I was kind of threw that in and joked with him, but like that's big time, and that's the expectation that he had for himself, and that's the reason why, man. Honestly, I keep telling people that's the reason why I don't want to go nowhere. I see the competitive nature, I see the growth. As a rookie of Cam, I see I can see where he could take this franchise. So, I'm looking forward to continue to end the season the right way, and we'll see how next year goes for us.
So that was Jeffrey Simmons, Joe. I thought some pretty strong stuff there of, that's stuff like that is why I keep telling people that I don't want to go anywhere. Cam Ward, the way that he's playing, his belief in Cam Ward. I thought some strong stuff from Simmons after the game yesterday.
Yeah, that's the type of stuff you want to hear. And obviously the Cam dudes were just nodding in agreement like, duh, told you all along. And the Ward are you doings are probably still going to be skeptical, and that's fine. He's not going to be rookie of the year. No one's going to be looking at this at the end of the season and saying, man, they absolutely nailed that number 1 overall pick. But days like yesterday make you feel better about it. They should, if you have an open mind and you're willing to, take in new information and be flexible on what you think might happen. Then yesterday is one of those days that pushes the needle in the preferred direction for the Titans. How much, I don't know, but that's a good day. And again, the competitiveness that he mentioned, I don't think anybody would dispute that,
yep.
Right? It's still about the efficiency, the consistency, and just being able to deliver the ball. That's what the quarterback, at a high level and at a higher level than he has so far this year. But I think yesterday was encouraging. And again, you're trying to win football games. You're trying to build a team that can win. Got some physicality up front, and it's starting to really lean on people. Is that December football in the NFL to some extent? There's probably something to that, right? With some of their opponents in particular, but
yep.
I think you can see at least a few more things that they can take forward than maybe we even thought, I don't know, like a month ago.
Well, Mike Herndon put this stat out there yesterday, a couple of different things. They've scored 24 plus points in 4 out of their last 5 games. If you go all the way back to the Seattle game, during that stretch, Ward has a 63.6% completion percentage. He's at 182.4 yards per game, 7 touchdowns, 1 pick, 1 fumble. And the other thing Herndon pointed out, Joe, was the 3 of those outings. So 3 of the 4 24-plus point outings have come against top 6 ranked scoring defenses. You've got the Seahawks at 3, the Niners at 5, and the Chiefs at 6. So it's not just that the offense by the numbers is getting better and by the point total is getting better. They've also done it against some pretty good defenses in the NFL. And by the way, as he points out, the other one is not a top 6 ranked scoring defense, but they did have Myles Garrett on the team. So when you factor all that in, Joe, it's pretty impressive, the combination of the numbers that they're putting up, but also the quality of competition that they're doing it against.
Yeah, for sure. And there are different circumstances with some of those. The Seattle one, it was a little bit like after it had gotten out of hand, but still, that's a really good defense that was still on the field. I think the Niners, there were missed opportunities in that Niners game for sure. But the Niners could be the 1 seed still in the in the NFC, which is crazy to think about, especially with their injuries. But that's still, even with those injuries, solid defense. Again, yesterday, do you get a little bit of an asterisk for that defense and for what they are at yesterday, especially with an offense that, what do they run, 30-some plays because they're down to a quarterback I had never heard of in my life.
Nope.
I mean, that's certainly a something to keep in mind. But yeah, it's there's no question it's a positive trend here.
Well, and then, what does it all mean? Because, I did see some of this yesterday, Joe, of, oh no, they're getting better under Mike McCoy, which means they're going to give the job to Mike McCoy. And look, I understand it's the Titans, so you can never, I guess, totally rule that out with the interim head coach. But I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, I think they could probably win out here, and Mike McCoy still doesn't get the job at the end of the year. But, I mean, look, we're all over him for some of the coaching decisions that he made earlier in the year, and, punting on 4th and 2 from the 33 or whatever it is. And, I don't know how much credit I'm willing to give Mike McCoy, but I'll give him some. I mean, I guess what I'll say is they've hung in there, right? Like, they've hung in there. They took their lumps, and they're not perfect. Like, it's not like they've figured out some magic formula here, and next year you're going to see the Titans, 12-5 because of the way they close out the season here. But they've hung in there. They've stuck with it. They've clearly gotten better. And I don't know what they've done on the offensive line that's been such a difference maker for them over the last few weeks. But it's obvious. Like, the offensive line has found some sort of turning point after the Jacksonville game, and they've played really well since then.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think they've also had good game plans. They've had good plans of attack. They've had some good coaching stuff that has helped them. I think the Cleveland game was obviously an example of that, but yeah, they've hung in there. He's hung in there. I mean, if we're being serious, I mean, it's a great thing to joke about and threaten Titans fans with. But if we're being serious about it, it probably increases the chances of him at least getting an interview. Were they going to give him a courtesy interview anyway?
Probably.
Probably, but I mean, it's like maybe people can not be mad when he has the interview and and it becomes official. Like, Titans have interviewed Mike McCoy. Like, okay, yeah, that's fine. And maybe he's helped himself if he's looking, to go somewhere and do more of a full-time whatever job somewhere. Like, maybe this helps him what he's done to kind of steady the ship and get a team to play better. And like you said, the offensive line, I'm sure they're not teaching a single thing different than what Bill Callahan was doing, but some things seem to be registering. Or again, just maybe some guys are healthier, figured some things out with their own chemistry or chemistry amongst each other. I don't know, but definitely there's some really good. I'd like to see, like, if Baldy, when they were good, we used to always see stuff from him on the Titans up front on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
I feel like yesterday there were some plays where it's like, man, I mean, with Skoronski in particular, with him when he's pulling and getting out and destroying people. But I thought Latham, I thought he looked pretty good yesterday too. Yeah. And obviously those are the two guys who have to be core players.
Well, and, Kuharski talked about this on Friday. He was having a conversation with Skoronski after the Jacksonville game, which was basically like, hey, can you explain to me, like, tell me a reason why it looks like you guys give a bleep, because from our vantage point, it really doesn't feel like you look that way. And apparently, Skoronski talked about this in the aftermath of, I think, the next game in Cleveland, of how they looked at their performance against Jacksonville and were embarrassed by it as an offense, particularly as an offensive line. And for whatever reason, like, they just locked in after that. And it's a fair question to ask. Why in the world did it take you all the way up until the Jacksonville game for something to click like that, for you to be embarrassed enough with your performance where the motivation or whatever it is kicked in after that? To your point, Joe, I don't think that they're walking around after the Jacksonville game teaching them all that much different stuff from a technique perspective. It's not like, they developed more practice time on the offensive line after the Jacksonville game late in the NFL season. I don't know what it is, but for whatever reason, I guess it could have gone one of two ways after the Jacksonville game, where you either just fold the tent and it's like, well, I guess we'll try it again next year, or you can, try to step up and do something about it. And to their credit, they've stepped up and tried to do something about it. And, I don't know that this means that, J.C. Latham is going to turn into an all-pro right tackle and that Peter Skoronski is going to be a Hall of Fame guard moving forward here. But it's nice to see, particularly Latham, respond the way that he has over the last few weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think they're like, okay, guys, everything Bill said, forget all that, okay? Yeah, he was wrong about everything. Let's, Olga, Bertha, let's get them out of here. I got some better drills on that. Yeah. But this will, I'm sure, become we've already had it. But
it's already
more and more of like, oh, yeah, get old Bill Callahan, get him out of town and look at what happens.
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
Nice. But, yeah, they are getting better. There is no doubt, and you've still got some spots to figure out. But if again, like you're going to have to figure out left tackle. Can you feel okay about both tackles next year? I mean, I'm not willing to sit here and say like you feel good about your tackles next year, but I do think these last two games are important for that reason. Do you have? And I know Moore's he's been banged up here and stuff, but if you can actually feel okay not addressing that with a significant asset, either money, but again, you're not finding a really good tackle in free agency, or a relatively high draft pick. Well, that helps. That helps a lot because you can do other things. One more thing, on the running game, I gotta say, man, and I know Pollard obviously has played really well here down the stretch. Good for him, but I don't know, man. I'm starting to watch Tyjae Spears a little bit and say, he's blowing would-be tacklers up. He looks dynamic out there. Is it possible that Rand, boiled a little water there?
I think yesterday was the best he's looked. I think that was the best game he's played in a Titans uniform yesterday.
Yeah, he looks like maybe somebody who could be part of the future iterations, or at least next year's iteration of the Titans offense.
I mean, think about this matchup we got coming up on Sunday, Joe. It's Titans Saints. Titans are winning games now. Saints have won 3 in a row. You got two good young quarterbacks, Ward and Shuck. I mean, we thought this was going to be a joke earlier in the year. This may be the NFL game of the week next week.
They're going to flex this?
Might have to.
Flex this to Sunday night.
Might have to.
No, the Saints blowing out the Jets. That was my lock. That's how good I feel about the Saints. Shuck looks good out there, man.
He does.
Throwing it around. Olave's out there lighting you up in fantasy. It's great.
Good stuff. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. A lot more of your thoughts to get to on the Titans front, and specifically the Cam Ward and offense part of the Titans. We'll get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. 1025 The Game is your home for the Liberty Mutual Music City Bowl coming up on Tuesday, December 30th. Tennessee taking on Illinois. Music City Bowl coverage presented by Pickers Vodka and Beyond the Edge Sports Bar. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode. Taking your thoughts on the Titans at 615-737-1025. Titans win 26-9 yesterday against the Kansas City Chiefs. And we are taking your thoughts. Ed on the text line, Joe, says, is it wrong that part of me wants to see Mike McCoy get the job just to see PK's head explode when it happens? That would be maybe the lone benefit of hiring Mike McCoy to be the full-time head coach. Kuharski would lose it.
We say that, and who knows? Maybe Kuharski's warming up to him too.
Maybe so.
I mean, it's we're not having these ridiculous. When's the last time we had a ridiculous, like, what are you doing decision or ridiculous comment?
It's been a few weeks. We're making some progress here.
Maybe we're building a long-lasting, nurturing relationship between Paul and Mike.
Did they miss 1 4th down?
Yeah.
In this game?
Yeah.
Went for it, came up a little
that
short.
Was the helm play.
Like the decision, though.
Yeah.
Like the decision to go.
I mean, good stuff there.
Sure.
I mean, it's going to be probably a pretty intimate press conference setting today with PK, and I'm sure TD will be there, but probably not going to be overly crowded because everybody's going to be at the Nick Saban press conference, which I think is going on at like the same time. So could be a real nice opportunity today for Kuharski to grow a little bit on the Mike McCoy front.
So the Preds are still doing the thing where they have to schedule press conferences at the exact same time as the Titans press conference to see if they can. I mean, I really appreciate that. It's really good stuff.
Hey, when Saban can talk, man, you let him do it.
He's retired. He can talk whenever he wants. He's
working all the time. He's on TV all over the place. What are you talking about?
That's
a hard-working man.
They'll Learjet him in wherever he wants to go, whenever he wants to do it. Amazing.
Oh, man.
Really sad to miss that.
I'm sure you
Someone say hi for me.
I will. I'll tell him hi. One texter says, whoever the next coach needs to make sure they keep Bones Fossil. Yeah, he's pretty good. Like, I would imagine that when you're going through the checklist of the current Titans coaching staff that needs to be around for the next group. I mean, look, when you hire these head coaches, especially if you're talking about some experienced head coaches of the names that we've talked about, they probably got an idea of what they want their staff to look like, and who knows, maybe Bones Fossil is not part of that. Denard Wilson is probably not part of that, would be my guess. I mean, I guess it depends on who you hire there, but I mean, the difference in coaching, Joe, from the special teams point of view, from what they had last year to what they have this year, is pretty unbelievable. Like how much different it is.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, I don't
know if it can get much more dramatic in the NFL.
I don't know that you have two extremes like that that I could possibly think of. Like, oh yeah, I thought they just knew what they were supposed to do. I'm supposed to coach them. to a really good guy who should absolutely be retained.
Wait a minute. We're supposed to be practicing out there?
I mean, these guys are pros. They're in the NFL. What do you want me to do?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
What a beautiful time last year.
Maybe they're coming out of all this,
Maybe.
Are they? Maybe they're coming out of the woods a little bit.
Maybe so. I thought on the Ward front yesterday, again, didn't miss on a ton of throws, looked comfortable in the pocket. The two throws he made after halftime, one to his right, one kind of fading away to his left, I think reminding people of, some of the wow throws that he can make. And, the other thing, we're going to get into the valuing wins and development of the youngsters versus the draft positioning, coming up here in just a minute, Joe. But I have to think, after number one, physically taking the beating that he did in the early part of this year. I mean, we talked about it at one point. He was on pace to get sacked like 70 times. He was taking a lot of hits. Some of those were his fault. Some of those were the fault of the offensive line. But he toughed it out. By the way, he's on pace now for, I believe, 58 sacks. So that number's going down, Joe. It is going down pretty dramatically. So that's good.
Still pretty bad, but
still not great, but it's better than 70. There's no doubt about that. But, he got through that. The offense has gone through turmoil. I mean, you got the coaching change. You got Ridley being injured, the lack of weapons, everything we've talked about. I have to think the run that he's on right now, which, again, is not perfect. It's not like he's turned into some all-pro player back there or anything. But from a confidence standpoint, and we know how important that is at quarterback in the NFL, to take your lumps and come out of it on the other side with a chance here over the next couple of weeks, Joe, to close out the season on the right foot and really have some actual momentum under your belt heading into the offseason. I think that's a big deal for Cam Ward. And, obviously this season has not gone to plan. I mean, they're going to end up, at least with 3 wins. We'll see if they can get another one by the time the season rolls away here. But they're starting to play better football. He has been able to take his lumps, is clearly showing some signs of improvement. And I don't know what it's ultimately going to mean for him. But from a confidence perspective, yesterday had to feel pretty good from Cam Ward.
Yeah, and look, we've talked about the whole, especially when it was a little bit more likely that they'd get the number 1 pick. But we've talked about the, best cases. Cam Ward has great efficiency, great numbers, and they lose a close but kind of high-scoring game. But it's still winning matters in those situations. I mean, in this league, it's such a cliche, but it is really hard to win. And like winning is, no matter what, it's still like the greatest, because especially for the people who are doing this stuff, who all year long are doing this stuff to play 17 games, and losing sucks no matter what. So at this point, I'm not saying, like, if he plays well and they lose the last 2 or whatever, he plays well, that's still good. But I think it is important to them to string together success and for his play to lead to winning. And again, at this point, I understand, and I'm locked out of the text line again, so I have no idea what people are saying about that. But I understand, like, you're sitting there watching the draft number get worse and worse. But I think you should be able to recognize, like, there could be some real value in what's going on right now.
Well, and let's just go ahead and get into that conversation, because we're gonna spend some time on that. The Titans, according to Tankathon.com, have gone from the number 3 pick now to the number 6 pick at 3-12. There's a jumble of teams at 3-12: Cleveland, the Jets, Arizona, now the Titans. And the Titans, with their strength of schedule, are at the 6th spot. New Orleans, like I said, has won 3 in a row. They're up to 5 wins. Washington is at 4-11. So there's still an opportunity here for the Titans to, move up a couple of spots. And who knows, they could be drafting, 7th or 8th by the time this is all done here, which I know if you're a Titans fan, it's like, well, that sucks, because part of the rebuild plan would be to get the number 1 overall pick, or get as high as you possibly can, be able to trade out of it and pick up more picks. And I understand that. I really do. But having said that, I think we would all agree that the most important part of this organization right now, and you can factor in who they hire at head coach, you can factor in all of it, is the quarterback. And if the quarterback is showing some signs of getting better and developing, wouldn't you take that over a couple of spots in the draft? Like, I understand in a perfect world, you want both, right? Like, you want the quarterback to show signs of improvement and get better, and for, I guess, the Titans to lose 48-42 at the end of the day because the defense is just totally outclassed. I don't think that's going to happen. So to me, what Ward has done over the last couple of weeks, the progress that's being made, not only with him, but with some of the rookie pass catchers as well, to me, that's important, right? Like that to me is going to be really important for them as they head into the offseason, get ready for next year. And I understand, winning a couple of games at the end of the year, there's no transitive property as to what that's going to mean heading into next year. But I do think it's showing you that your quarterback's getting better, which ultimately, if he's getting better, that's what's going to determine whether or not you're any good over the next few years.
Yeah, and again, Latham, there's individuals, Latham, the biggest non-Cam individual story. Some of these, some other guys on both sides of the ball, he's Spears. Like, to me, the next coach watches film here of these last few games. He watches yesterday's cut-ups, and he's looking at Spears and thinking, okay, this guy can have a role. And obviously the receivers, the 3 young pass catchers and things like that. So, yeah, look, I think it's I think it's a good thing to get some of these things together. How good can that group be? You're still going to, of course, have to add some big time talent to it. But if you have some young guys who have built chemistry and have, again, figured out, this wins. This wins in the NFL. We know what it is to win in the NFL. Then you can add some big time talent to it. It's like even just the offseason discussion and preseason discussion changes from, well, is this going to be an absolute bleep show again, to, well, can they build on this? And I think there's some value to that, even psychologically.
615-737-1025, our phone number. The value of wins for Cam Ward and the youngsters versus the pain some Titans feel on losing out on the number 1 pick. How do you weigh the two? We'll get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Mondays were made for Macero. Big screens, bold flavors, and all the football action from queso to kickoffs. This is how Macero does game night. Macero Football Mondays in 12 South. Don't miss a snap. Talking Titans, taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025. Discussing the value of winning some games for Cam Ward and these young players on offense versus draft positioning. And some Titans fans upset that the number one pick seems to be falling completely out of their grasp. Now, as we've talked about, I mean, the Giants and the Raiders play each other, so somebody's going to win that game. You know, the Raiders for a minute look like they, might screw around and hang in there and make things interesting with Houston yesterday. That ultimately did not end up happening. But, the number one pick feels like it's gone at this point. I mean, they're number 6 right now in the draft order, and there's so many things that would have to happen that it just doesn't feel like the number one pick is going to be there. So, Joe, if the number one pick is not there, I mean, it's not impossible for the Titans to finish second or third, and somebody, I guess, still want to trade with them. I mean, we saw it last year with Jacksonville trading. So it's not impossible for that to happen. But to me, if you're not getting the number one pick, and particularly if a team right behind you is quarterback needy, and we'll see which quarterbacks actually end up coming out in the draft this year, which is another thing we don't know about right now. It kind of feels like, and a couple people have brought this up on the text line, what's really the difference between drafting third and drafting sixth, right? I understand you want as high of a draft pick as possible, but if you're a general manager, you're still going to have your opportunity to pick what should be a pretty darn good player if you're drafting at number 6 right now. And in the meantime, coupled with that, your quarterback playing better, some of your skill guys that are young that you're trying to build a nucleus around are showing signs that they may be players for you in the NFL. Wouldn't you take that trade-off if you're a Titans fan? Now, Joe, there are some Titans fans that say, screw that, give me the highest draft pick possible, and let's see if we can wheel and deal a trade here and get a couple of really good players high in the draft.
Yeah, look, I will disagree a little bit on there's no difference between 3 and 6 because, well, first of all, obviously you have available more of the absolute blue chip players, but also at 3, that's still a spot that could turn into, depending on the order and everything, that maybe someone moves up to get a QB at 1, someone takes Ruben Bain at 2. The next QB, and again, who is the next QB? Is there a next QB right now that projects to be taken that high? No. Does that mean there won't be? No. There probably will be. And I can't tell you who that would be. Maybe Dante Moore, maybe Ty Simpson. Both of those guys move on to the playoff. They play well.
Diego Pavia.
Well, I don't know. Apparently Diego Pavia, by saying F the voters, has destroyed his draft status. It's just oh my goodness. He used the F word.
Yeah.
And also 5 years ago, he peed on the New Mexico logo. He is never going to play in this league. Yeah, don't get me started on some of the crap flying around about that. But you could at 3 maybe be in a position to move down, whereas obviously it gets tougher the further down you go. So there's no difference, but also the best player in the draft might be taken 19th. I mean, there's also that too. The haul idea, the big haul, if you're getting the first pick, that is very attractive for a team like the Titans that needs so much help. But yeah, you're still going to at 6, at 5, you're still going to have a chance to take a difference-making player, and then maybe you're going to have a chance to move down and add picks. It's possible still.
Tyler says, now that the number one pick is out of reach, I feel like winning the last 2 games is way more valuable than getting the 6th pick versus the 9th pick. Richard on the YouTube chat says, the further they drop in the draft order, the more likely a wide receiver is taken with the first pick. That's not a bad thing combined with winning. This is from Richard on the YouTube chat. I mean, that is, if you're looking at projections, which I know is kind of borderline crazy to do in December, Joe, but that is kind of where they've got Carnell Tate right now. It's 6, 7, 8, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Well, that's true. Now, Prudential, who also points out, by the way, that the Preds just moved from 2nd best to 7th best odds to draft Gavin McKenna.
Yeah.
And on the other side of tanking failures, points out that he's what about Jeremiah Love could be right around that spot.
Could.
I'm not saying they should do that, but that's about probably low top 10 is about where he'll probably go. or at least where he's projected right now.
One texter says, I don't remember where I heard this from, but there was a report that a lot of general managers in the NFL view the 2027 draft as the potential to be one of the best drafts of all time. And a lot of general managers won't want to trade currency of next year's draft for this upcoming draft. That could be the case. I mean, I think, sometimes, Joe, it's a little bit dangerous to if you're a general manager, to be looking ahead to the next year's draft because, if it's bad enough, you may not be the general manager of that team anymore. But, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to think about some guys that could be draft eligible or that will be draft eligible in 2027 and what the top of that draft could look like.
Yeah, certainly. There's some guys, again, like Jeremiah Smith may be too good to not be the number one overall pick, even though we expect that to be a quarterback almost every year. It's going to be loaded. But, yeah, even some of those projections, as we know, look at the quarterback projections for this draft as of September and look at them now. Like complete. It's like taking an Etch-a-Sketch and just shaking it. And it's just totally different. So in this league, I think that if whatever situation you're in, you're desperate to keep your job all the way to you feel like you're in your window and you've got to if you feel like you got a difference-making player, you'll give up 27 picks if you need to.
Yeah.
That'll happen. You have to live year by year in the NFL.
Joey from Bellevue says, I don't think the Titans would have lost yesterday even if they tried. Kansas City is awful. It is what it is. Is the GM good enough? He'll pick a difference maker no matter what. They won't be able to trade down anymore because I don't see him picking in the top 4. Well, and look, the other part of this, Joe, is what we think about the draft and how the order is going to shake out now. The people are already talking about Reuben Bain and like the size of his arms. And it's like, well, he's got short arms. So there's some I think I saw who was it? It was Brugler, Dane Brugler this weekend said that there are some NFL GMs that have a second day grade on Reuben Bain. And, I think a lot of people would say, well, that's insane. But, that's what I'm talking about. We're going to go through the process with all these guys, which, as we know, Joe, ends up with scrutiny from all over the place. And who knows who's going to be available at number 6 by the time the draft actually comes around.
Yeah. And that stuff. Yeah, right. Exactly. Now, just in that particular instance, I love that. Watch a guy play football. He's not a second day player.
Yeah. There was a stat. I can't remember the exact number from the tweet I saw about how, however many first round outside linebacker edges with under 31-inch arms have like however many sacks. And it was just not a good number.
Who was this totally reminds me of the guy from Syracuse who went to the Colts and people were down on his
Freeney?
I think it was Dwight. Was it Dwight Freeney? Is that right?
He was from Syracuse.
I don't know. An edge for the Colts. Is it Freeney? Maybe it was Freeney. Regardless,
he turned up.
It was the same thing. Like, he's too short. Doesn't have long enough. I don't know if he was a 31 guy or whatever. But it's like, did you see him in college? He made all the plays. He gets off blocks. He tackles the quarterback. Yeah, he did that in the NFL too. So hey, there you go. Maybe the Titans can move down and take Bain early second.
I saw that tweet. I was like, really? A second day grade for Reuben Bain? How about that?
The measurables thing, man. It's not. It doesn't not matter, but I think for some GMs it matters too much.
615-737-1025. Our phone number. A lot more of your thoughts to get to on the Titans. We will do that. Coming up next, we'll get into the college football playoff next hour. Corey Curtis will be with us at 8 o'clock for his weekly visit. All that coming up. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Monday morning. We are live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Corey Curtis from News 2 will be with us at 8 o'clock. We will get into the Titans, their 26-9 win against the Kansas City Chiefs with him. We will get into the college football playoff a little bit later this hour, which I would imagine Rexrode and I are not going to see eye to eye on with how things went down this weekend. But we'll get into that a little bit later this hour. Taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025, our phone number, discussing the value of the Titans winning games with their young core toward the end of the year, building some confidence, seeing some improvement, versus maybe falling down a little bit in the draft order and not getting the number one pick that a lot of Titans fans wanted to have. Now, Joe, we have seen a lot and heard from a lot of Titans fans over the last few weeks about, the importance of getting the number one pick and being able to trade out of it. Now that it's becoming pretty clear that ain't going to happen and that they're not going to get the number one pick, more and more today I'm seeing, Joe, well, if it ain't going to be the number one pick, just win some games and get some confidence going in your quarterback. So it seems to be, from the text line response to this point, Joe, number one pick or bust. If it ain't going to be the number one pick, start winning all the games you can if you're the Tennessee Titans.
Well, I'm somewhat surprised and pleasantly surprised, but we have smart listeners, because I think that's, look, of course you want the best possible pick. You want the best possible outcome of the draft. It's a hugely important draft, but yeah, there is a bigger picture here. And Cam Ward playing well, the guys around him, especially the young guys who we know we're going to be back next year, playing well, figuring out how to win games. Yeah, there's value. Again, I questioned Kaharski on this a few weeks ago, a little bit more, like if they were right in that range of the one, because look, you want them to play well, you want them to improve and all that, but if you have a chance at the one, that could be, who knows? Like, is Fernando Mendoza after the draft process going to be like, oh my God, all these teams need Fernando Mendoza? I don't know. I don't know that he's really that good, but I think that's possible. So then that's where you can get into really setting yourself up. Well, that's not happening now. And so, of course, you'd like a better pick. You'd like a higher pick than a lower pick. But, yeah, I think there's a shift in attention. And, frankly, maybe it's just because it's been so long of such terrible football. But just even the idea of, like, hey, the Titans have a chance to win a game this week, and you know what? It would be good. It's almost a foreign idea, right? It's been again, that was their first home win in 400 whatever days. So I think I like seeing that. I like seeing fans think that way, because I think it really is smart that that building winning habits and, again, building chemistry together with it's not a big enough young nucleus. You'd like way more young players on both sides of the ball who you feel good about, but there are some young guys on offense. And then again, 98 over there is playing the best football of his career. He's dominating, and he's excited. And so you have that and some other good pieces on that side of the ball too.
Well, I also think it's different, and maybe it shouldn't be, but I think it just is in the NFL. Like, if you're a team that is quarterback needy, having the number one pick is crucial, right? Because, then you get your pick of the litter at quarterback. So, like, whatever quarterback you want in the draft, you come away with. I'm not saying the number one pick isn't really important if you think you have your quarterback, because it is. Obviously, like you said, Joe, like, if, they go through the draft process and there are all these teams that are in love with Fernando Mendoza, and it turns into some bidding war to get to the top of the draft, and you can really profit off that if you're the Titans, then yes, obviously that would be a great scenario. But, again, the quarterback is the most important part of your organization. And if you're asking me which one I would rather have, the number one pick, or signs of life that, hey, maybe the quarterback you've already taken could be good, I will take that every time. Because ultimately, that's going to be more important. Yes, it's important that they make the right decision with the draft pick. it's important that wherever they end up here, whether it's 6, whether it's 4, whether it's 8, wherever here in the first round, that whoever they select has to be a great player for them moving forward and part of this young core. There's no doubt about it. But if you're asking me what's more important, picking second in the draft or maybe going into an offseason and thinking that your quarterback's got a chance to be pretty good if you can, make the right hire and improve the roster and spend the over $100 million of cap space that you're going to have to help them out a little bit, I'll take signs of life from the quarterback every single time.
Yeah, look, imagine if it was going poorly. Cam was playing like he has in stretches. I mean, just a couple weeks ago, we had a bad game. We're like, yeah, man. It's like each week you sort of have the different conversation. Wow, what does this mean? Good. Or what does this mean? Bad. Sometimes it's just mid. But imagine if it was consistently bad and they were in for the one, and we'd be sitting there talking about Mendoza, which is an asinine prospect and conversation in my mind, but it still would be brought up. We don't have to worry about that anymore. I feel bad bringing it up right now, but I'm just bringing it up as an example of something we don't have to talk about anymore, which is a great thing because I didn't want to talk about it because it was stupid.
Yeah, I mean, but you're right. If the combination of them landing the number 1 pick and Ward finishing off the season poorly took place, regardless of whatever excuses you want to make, a lot of which I think are valid around him right now, that would be a talking point all offseason, Joe. It'd be like, well, I mean, Fernando Mendoza's there. Titans should go draft him. Like, if you think Fernando Mendoza is better, then go draft him. And now, and number 1, I don't think they're going to be in position to do that. And number 2, like, it's nice to see your quarterback make some throws. Like, yesterday was probably his best game. And we'll see what that looks like. Can he replicate it against New Orleans coming up? How meaningful is the Jacksonville game going to be at the end of the year from the Jags standpoint of, I mean, good Lord, at this point, could they be the number 1 seed? I mean, they went into Denver yesterday and won. So apparently they're just really good. We'll find out what that means, but you're going to get another shot at them. Milky Pool will be flowing down there in Jacksonville at the end of the year, chance to go on the road and end the season on a positive note. If you're Cam Ward, like, I just think the way that they have played on offense the last few weeks, even if they're going to end up 4-13 or whatever they end up with, 3-14 at the end of the year, doesn't it feel a little bit different the last few weeks with, the production that they've been able to have on offense? And you've been harping on that for 3 years at this point of, it's one thing to lose. It's another thing to lose and be totally inept on the offensive side of the ball. And the last 3-4 weeks, they have shown signs of making meaningful strides on offense, which it's been a long time since they've done that.
Yeah, Coach Mike McCoy has shepherded a new era of offensive efficiency, so just keep that in mind. Yeah, that Milky Pool, they're so excited down there. That's just going to look like milk. It's just going to look like a big.
It's going to be shoulder to shoulder in that sucker at the end of the year.
Oh, God. But that's you're playing New Orleans, who is playing well. Like, really, New Orleans is playing well, and they've got some weapons. I mean, Olave is a big time player, and Shuck looks good. And so it's an interesting little duel of rookie quarterbacks with both franchises. I think have high hopes. Obviously, the Titans have way more invested in theirs, but just in terms of just taking number 1 overall. But then, going down to Jacksonville, that could be, certainly something big at stake for the Jags. So you have a chance to ruin whatever that may be. Yeah, because they could get the 1 now, right? I mean,
they could.
Or
they probably won't, but they could.
They probably won't, but they're certainly, and they're still in a battle with Houston for the division. So you could mess them up and kind of. It's also just sort of a chance to show that progress from the first meeting to this one. What kind of work did you get done between those games to become a more competitive team? And if you can at least even just have a good game there, I think that's something to take into the offseason.
Randy says it seems like Titans fans need to hope that the Giants decide to move on from Jackson Dart. First off, I don't think that's going to happen. Secondly, I don't think so. Like, I mean, that would be a one team that is currently ahead of you in the draft order that does not need a quarterback. So I don't know. We'll see how it shakes out.
By the way, like his first pass completion was like in the third quarter yesterday.
It was really weird. I think at one point he was like 2 for 6 for like 6 yards. I don't know what he ended up with yesterday, but it was very strange.
Yeah, I watched some of it. It was awful, but I think that's the thing. A few weeks ago, it was like, oh my God, the Titans blew it. That they told that's the guy they should have taken, and so now it's his turn to be for all of New York to freak out about. But yeah, he'll be their quarterback.
He was 7 of 13 for 33 yards and a pick yesterday. 33
My
yards.
goodness. So we ended up, yeah.
Did they attempt to throw the ball at all yesterday?
It was weird. I feel like, because I was actually watching some red zone, but I feel like there were a lot of plays where he like dropped back, but somehow like a pass was never actually thrown for various reasons.
Interesting.
Against that mighty Vikings defense.
Bold strategy. Strategy. One texter says, given the fact that the coaching staff isn't settled, I'm not a fan of winning at all. That goes back to what we talked about earlier, Joe. There are some Titans fans who are like, oh no, Amy's going to hire Mike McCoy to be the next head coach.
Yeah, that's the new potential freakout this week. So obviously we won't get Kaharski this week to freak out about it. He's going to have to sit there and stew in that all week and not even be able to sort of like use us as an outlet for his frustration.
I mean, who knows? The next time we see Kuharski, they may have won again, Joe. Just only intensifying the conversation.
And then it's like, I don't know, man. Mike's been a pretty good name for Titans coaches. You know, unless you're getting McCarthy, you might want to think about McCoy.
615-737-1025 for phone number. Speaking of Titans coaches, Diana Rossini came out with an interesting report this weekend that caused a stir on Titans Twitter. We will get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Joe, Diana Rossini of The Athletic, friend of the show, put out a report over the weekend. You know, she was talking about, the Jets and some of their stuff that they got going on with the process or whatever that process looks like with the New York Jets. But also in this piece, got to a bunch of different things, including at one point referring to Paul Koharski as a no-nonsense pain-in-the-butt reporter, which I thoroughly enjoyed in this article. But also got to the Titans organizing their coaching list. I talked about Matt Nagy being viewed internally as a serious candidate, and this was before the game on Sunday, but I don't expect that to change, that Matt Nagy's probably going to get a look from the Tennessee Titans. Rossini also said this, Joe, which caused a stir on Titans Twitter. Tennessee also plans to reach out to several defensive coordinators, including the Indianapolis Colts' Lou Anarumo, Packers' Jeff Hafley, Anthony Campanelli from the Jags, the Rams' Chris Shula, Houston Texans' Matt Burke, and Jesse Minter from the Chargers. Now, Joe, I would like to point out one thing she did not say in there is that's where the list stops. Like, this is not exclusively the list that the Titans are going to be going, but it does look like they are including those names, which, frankly, Joe, like, it's not really that much of a surprise. We've talked about this. I think they need to be pretty wide-ranging with this coaching search. They've had some time to work on how they want to attack it, what their list wants to look like. But that caused a stir on Titans Twitter. I'd just like to again remind people that Rossini did not say that that's all the Titans are going to be doing. Is it's going to be either Nagy or one of these 6 defensive coordinators that are currently employed.
And yet it was taken that way. I mean, the only thing that I just feel like it was a little bit too wordy on Koharski. Pain in the butt would have sufficed, like you can be a little more economical there. But it was taken as here's the list. Again, taken by some people, but that's what you get with Twitter sometimes. And none of those names are bothersome, right? I mean, I know some people are just like, I don't want the DC thing, or maybe some people are like, I only want Saleh, not every other person who's considered needs to be an offensive guy. But look, it makes sense to me. It makes sense to look at all the different buckets of possible head coach, and so some of those guys could end up being really good head coaches.
Yeah, and again, I've said this many times. I don't necessarily love the idea of like bringing in the. I think the reaction that would make Titans fans the most mad, Joe, is the combination of have not been a head coach before and defensive guy. I've talked about that a couple of times. Now, look, maybe that ends up being the right coach. I have no idea. I think that's probably the one that would cause Titans fans the most consternation if it plays out that way. But I have no problem on the surface of hiring a defensive coach. I saw some of that reaction this week. It was like, well, why would they hire a defensive coach? It's like, I don't care about that. Like, if they think the defensive guy is the right guy to be the head coach, whether that's one of those coordinators, whether that's Robert Saleh, I don't care. Go hire him.
Yeah, a guy named Mike Vrabel is after that comeback last night is right in there fighting to be the 1 seed in the AFC and to win Coach of the Year. Mike Tomlin just has another winning season and probably going to the playoffs this year. I mean, there's plenty of examples of defensive coaches who have high level of success. But I'm with you.
Mike McDonald's doing okay in Seattle.
Yeah, he's doing all right. And again, he's got a good OC, but I agree with you. I think that's the least attractive combination. And I just think, look, make a hire if you're absolutely certain that this never been a head coach candidate, whoever it is the answer. Even though you did that last time and it failed, that doesn't mean you should just close yourself off to it. But yeah, I'd rather see someone who's been a head coach.
Yeah. And again, I have no problem with any of the names on the list being considered, right? And so, I mean, the real thing is when the next couple of weeks are here and gone, and we get into the playoffs in the NFL, and you start to actually make decisions on what your head coach is going to look like. Who is getting interviewed and who's making it to the second round of interviews? That's what matters, right? Like, I would imagine if you're the Titans, there's probably 100 some odd names that you've talked about at this point, right? It's your job as Borgonzi and Brinker and your staff of 1 billion people that, Karski was talking about on Friday, probably having too many cooks in the kitchen. It's your job to narrow that thing down and formulate a plan. They've had plenty of time to do that, and we're going to find out if their plan's any good or not heading into the head coaching search here in a couple of weeks.
Exactly. You freak out, Titans fans, once you get to that. Once you get to the point of here's now we know who the 5 people are for whatever it is, and people that you really wanted aren't on it, or people you really don't want to be on it are on it, then you freak out. Wide net right now. It's also, and I think people are ready to freak out because it's been forever thinking about who the next coach is going to be. So I get it.
No, I totally get it too. One texter, Joe, says the game yesterday was awful. Way more Chiefs fans than Titans. Very little effort to make it feel like a Christmas game. Music, fan appreciation events. None of that happened. Management inept at all levels. The best thing that happened was the selfie cam when the fan flashed the sign, "Sell the team." There is that.
Ooh,
I did hear
so
about that.
That's a big no-no on the whoever decided to show that up. Was that like a hidden
I don't
thing,
know.
and then you lift the shirt and it says "Sell the team"?
I don't know.
That's not something you want out there. Yeah, well, I saw some.
This is a low T alert.
I saw Karhusky's picture, and I was like, he's like, it's a total takeover. So again, it's like probably a lot of people who had flights and are like, well, by golly, let's just go to Nashville. We'll still have fun in Nashville, even though our Chiefs are completely done and we have to watch Gardner Minshew, and now he's hurt too. But it looked like a total takeover. Again, all the Titans fans who were there yesterday, who have been showing up faithfully to these games, and
Great
there's still a lot of people that they are the ultimate fans.
Ultimate fans. I was walking around downtown yesterday for the hockey game. A lot of 87 jerseys out there in red. A lot of 87 jerseys. I would love to know how many people pulled the double dip yesterday at the Titans game and then the Preds game last night. A long sports day. A lot of winning in our town yesterday.
A double win. How many times do you see that?
And really a double dominant win. Like the Predators, I know the score was a 1-goal game, but if you watch the game, they kicked the crap out of the Rangers last night. Titans kicked the crap out of the Chiefs. Domination.
That little O'Reilly dropped to Forsberg, man.
It's nice.
Yeah, so here you go. Your teams are screwing up their draft positioning. Congratulations, Nashville. Good job.
Hey, I had somebody ask me on the text line earlier if I believe in the Preds yet. They're certainly playing better. Riley was talking about last night how they climbed back into the race here. So, technically, you look at the standings, they are only 5 points out of a playoff spot. They are now ahead, Joe, of 5 teams in the Western Conference. They're moving up.
I believe they can be middling and ensure continuing to be middling. I believe in that. By the way, we're talking about entertainment at the stadium, which the Titans in the new place, they've got work to do. They really need to. They need to really, and I would hope that that's part of the deal, but they really need to work on that. They also need to stop calling me every 5 minutes about tickets. But I know that this has been Berserker has made sure that this is going to happen because of all of our critical comments on the Titans. But we did a goal song thing at the Athletic. And so someone on the YouTube chat was like, I agree, Joe, they need to get rid of the goal song. I don't think I said that. I hate the song, right? It's a terrible song, but it's actually a good goal song because it's annoying as hell for your opponent, right? It's just like the Blackhawks song is just
pretend
one of the worst songs.
Call Tim McGraw horrible there. That was very disrespectful.
Well, I'm talking about one song. Anybody can have a bad song, right?
It's true.
You're telling me that's a good song? Come on.
Yeah, man, it's a good song. It's like 90s country. Come on.
It's not good. I like it. I love it. I want some more.
Better than anything the Beatles ever put out.
Yeah, well, sure, of course. That's true. Between that and your college football playoff take, you're just going to have a hell of a day today.
I think the college football playoff take I'm about to have is shared by, I believe, about 95% of the country. We're going to get into it.
Yeah, but well, that's fine. We can get into it.
We are. We're going to do that coming up next.
We don't need to get into it now. We'll get into it after the break.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. It was in some ways a waste of time on the college football playoff front this weekend. We'll get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Monday morning. We'll have the Rex Rant coming up here in just a few minutes. Corey Curtis from News 2 with us at 8 o'clock. We'll get his thoughts on Titans' 26-9 win against the Kansas City Chiefs yesterday. Taking your thoughts in the meantime, 615-737-1025. Joe, the first round of the college football playoff took place this weekend. Friday night's game, it looked like Oklahoma was just going to run away with it through the first quarter. And then that changed pretty quickly. Alabama comes storming back. Ty Simpson makes some big plays, and the Crimson Tide win 34-24. A defensive battle on the Saturday morning game between Miami and Texas A&M. A late touchdown in the fourth quarter from Miami propels them to a 10-3 win on the road and sends home over 100,000 Aggie fans feeling bad about themselves over the weekend. And then you had the two games later in the day that were a complete and total waste of time. So what did you make of the first round of the college football playoff as a whole, Joe, before we start yelling at each other about Tulane and James Madison?
Yeah, well, real quick on those. Neither of them was as ugly as when Ohio State was up 34-0 on Oregon last year in the Rose Bowl, about 8 minutes left in the second quarter. So that's a blowout. But, yeah, the other two games, great win for Alabama, terrible loss for Oklahoma, great win to me for America. And just because Oklahoma is the team, is the non-Group of Five team in this field that I had the most problem with. I'm not saying they didn't deserve it. Their resume said they did. I just didn't think they were good enough. Then they're up 17-0, and the entire college football tweeting universe is like,
boy, they were hammering Alabama.
Well, there you go, committee. You freaking screwed up with Bama, didn't you? I mean, the Notre Dame people this week, absolutely, the pro Notre Damers were just going nuts. And as it turns out, Miami and Bama both win. It's like, well, actually, the committee seemed to get it right, I guess.
Yeah.
So, but great win for Bama. I do think, we talked about Ty Simpson and the injury. I think you saw a better version of him. Their protection still is a problem. Their total lack of a running game is a problem. Their drop passes, that's a problem. But, a little bit Saban when you get like the big special teams play and the big defensive, you get the pick six. And I'm excited for Alabama, Indiana, first of all. And that's a big win for Bama. I think that's a Kalen DeBoer cementer, you would think. Again, Alabama fans, you're just not having Nick Saban again. He was never going to be Nick Saban. I'm sure he won't have the same run Nick Saban had, especially because the sport is different now. And it's going to be harder to have runs like that, I think, because there is more parity at the top. But you got to, if you're a Bama fan, you got to be like, okay, Kalen, you're good. We'll keep you. And by the way, Michigan, I know you were hoping that he was going to be available after the game, but boy, that coaching search is going really well right now.
Good stuff on that front. Yep.
Go blue. Go blue. Here you go. My little cup. And then we talk about games that are hard to watch and everything. That was actually, to me, a really entertaining game.
I thought so too. Yeah.
It was a really fun game to watch, and obviously a horrific college kicker day.
Oh, man.
But, the Malachi Tony, I mean, his redemption with the huge play after the fumble, and that defense, Ruben Bain with the huge sack. You feel bad for Dominic Reed because, he has played so well, but he had 4 picks, I think, in the last 2 games. And that last one was just late. I thought we were looking at overtime, but he's just a little bit late on that one.
And behind him. Yep.
And behind, yeah. But still good drive there, finally, for them. And just a big win for the U. That's the legit defense. I mean, that defense against Ohio State. And, of course, we got the rematch of the 0-2 BCS championship game. I'm excited to see it. Now, I don't know Carson Beck better play a heck of a lot better against Ohio State's defense of that. We might be talking 3-all late in that one, too.
Very well could be.
But I'm very interested to see Miami's defense in that matchup. That's a legit crew.
So Ole Miss wins 41-10 against Tulane. If you watch the game, it could have been worse, but it was 41-10 in the game. Oregon 51-34 against James Madison. The score was 34-6 at halftime in that game. So, Joe, I don't think anybody in the world is surprised that the games played out the way that they did this weekend. I mean, there's a lot of conversation from this and people screaming at each other on both sides of the why is the group of 5 in the college football playoff argument this weekend. We know where I stand on this. Like, I think it's absolutely absurd that these two teams were in the college football playoff. It was a complete and total waste of time. And to me, like, I understand, and you're probably going to bring this up, and I'll go ahead and address it. I understand blowouts happen in the college football playoff. There is a difference between blowouts happening in the college football playoff and everybody on the planet knowing that a blowout is coming in the college football playoff and then it playing out that way. So, Joe, where do you stand in the aftermath of having watched it happen on the James Madison Tulane group of 5 discussion as it relates to the college football playoff and where things go from here?
Well, first of all, these people are, and you included, are screaming about this, and it's like, okay, well, you can scream about, we can all scream about, gosh, it sucks that players have free agency every year, or some people could still scream about players getting paid. It's an antitrust issue if they're not included, okay? So you're going to lose in the courtroom anyway. That's one thing. The second thing is, and I understand it's not a perfect comparison, but it is basically, now that you've gone this big with the tournament, you basically are, okay, so you multiply it by 5 and you have your basketball tournament. So every once in a while, and usually like once a year, there's at least a close one, like a 1 or 2 or 3 seed has at least a scare. Sometimes you get the shocker, Fairleigh Dickinson beats Purdue. And I understand basketball is different too. Like, it's more likely in basketball than in football. But almost all of those games are complete blowouts who no one watches. Like, oh, North Carolina, 1 seed Duke against whoever, and they're up 40. Like, yeah, we'll just watch this other game. When you get the field this big, you're going to have bad games. But the biggest thing to me, Robby, is if you are really that down on this and we must get the group of 5 out, like, you're no better than these TV execs or Sankeys of the world who are doing everything they can to just turn it into NFL light. You have to have hope for these programs. I've seen.
What's the hope?
The hope is to get in. It's freaking awesome that they got in, that they got that experience, that James Madison got into the tournament and got to have that experience at Oregon. You know what it does? It helps them recruit against their level. They're Division I. People are like, well, let them have their own tournament. Well, then they just go FCS and be in that. They're Division I. You are cutting out. You can look at these fan bases if you want and dismiss them, but these teams do have fans. Like Boise State, they have freaking fans.
Sure.
And so, okay, so you're going to just totally take them out and again continue this march toward NFL light and just like 35 teams. And
who's saying totally
else?
Take them out? You should have a chance to get in, but you should not just be handed a spot. I've said this for weeks. There is no way this year that you can make an argument that Tulane, who I think was ranked like 20th in the college football playoff rankings, and James Madison deserve to be in the college football playoff. There are years where there are teams from the group of 5. We talk all the time about, well, they were never getting in with the 14 playoff. There was a group of 5 team that got in the 14 college football playoff in Cincinnati. There are years where this happens. This year, none of them deserve to be in the college football playoff. And the fact that 2 of them got in is an absolute travesty to the sport.
But again, look, the second one is the ACC's. It's
the system's fault. It's not the ACC's fault. Yes, the ACC sucks. We understand that.
No, but it's their tiebreaker.
We got to have some common sense in these discussions.
Okay, so again, you're taking them out or what? What are you doing? They have to be what? What do they have to be?
Who is they? Who are we talking about?
Well, you're saying well, they can get it if they deserve it. So what do they have to do to deserve it?
There should be some criteria where you have to, more than one loss, you're not getting in, and you have to meet some strength of schedule requirements. Like, Boise State has had some years where they're undefeated, right? Then put them in the playoff. But if we're acting like James Madison and Tulane played remotely the same schedule as some of these other teams that were left out of the college football playoff, and we're just all okay with, well, participation trophy, get them in so they can get killed at the end of the day. What are we doing here? Are we
again? Okay,
it's a tournament to decide the national champion.
Yeah. You're going to decide a national champion out of the tournament. I mean, again, how much do you need to expand
Is that
it?
not why they're paying the tournament? To decide the national champion?
Yeah, they've got the teams in that are going to win the national championship. They didn't exclude anybody that was going to win a national championship.
You don't think Notre Dame could win a national championship?
No, they were close. Vandy, Notre Dame, could they have won games? Yeah. Do I think they were national championship level teams? No. But so this argument you're making, then do it for basketball. So
it's
why
not
the hell?
It's not the
why
same
am I
sport.
watching Robert Morris? Because Georgia played a way better schedule and they went 8. They went 8-8 in the SEC. Why the hell are they sitting at home while I watch Robert Morris? Because you have to have access.
Are basketball teams fighting each other at the line of scrimmage? Are there basketball teams that are so physically outmatched that we know it is impossible for them to hang in the game with them? No.
You know what's impossible? 100% impossible. 100% impossible. Appalachian freaking State winning at number 2 Michigan in 2007. Zero chance that's possible. Zero on paper. Zero. It happened. Group of 5 teams in either the CFP or the New Year's Six. Their average ranking was 13.6. in the past 11 years before this, okay? And 4 of them won postseason games. I mean, Tulane won a postseason game. You're right. There are years where there's an obvious one, and that's great. Hopefully that happens. But what are you suggesting we do? This was a weird year where we got 2 in. You are not you will run into antitrust issues if you try to exclude them. The only thing you could do is, you could try to raise it above top 25. But I don't think, you're not raising it. I mean, to me, there's no way you're just raising it to you have to be ranked in the top 12 if you're not in the tournament. You have to provide more access to that for one freaking spot in the tournament.
Well, there's 2 spots this year, and I understand we can blame it. Then get
What
rid of the
ACC?
5 automatic bids. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Why is this so hard? Like, why can we not do this as college football playoff where we get 5 automatic bids? We're all against automatic bids.
And watch the ACC lose their mind and watch the Big 12.
We're all against automatic bids when the SEC or when the Big 10 wants to do it, but somehow we're okay with the automatic bids when the group of 5 teams get in.
Well, I'm not against champions getting in, the conference champions for 5 automatic bids, or the rest at large. I'm against every year you're going to get 4, you're going to get 4, you're going to get 2, you're going to get 2. I'm against that.
Did you enjoy watching those games this weekend?
No, but then we get back to there's plenty of crap blowout games that, in fact, what's going to suck? The NFL.
Can we not understand the difference, though, between crap blowout playoff games and knowing beyond a shadow of a doubt that that's the way it was going to play out heading into it? I mean, people were talking about Tennessee, Ohio State this weekend. I think Ohio State was an 8-point favorite in the game. There were people all over the place picking Tennessee to win because Ohio State had just absolutely crapped all over themselves the 2 weeks before that playing against Michigan. It's not the same thing.
There is a difference, but that also does happen at times in the NFL playoffs for sure, where it's like, well, this stupid team that won their awful division hosts this team that's going to come in and blow them out anyway. And certainly in the NBA, the 1-8 series, a lot of those we know the outcome.
You're talking about professional sports,
okay,
man.
but it's a postseason.
The rosters are the same.
So because of 2 blowouts, because we know it was going to be a blowout, it is just, it's absolutely criminal. Again, I'm giving you postseason examples of situations where that also happens, where we knew in advance this ain't going to be a game.
Yeah. Do you honestly believe, like people brought up the Utah stuff, do you honestly believe Utah and Alabama and whatever bowl game they played in, after Alabama was not in I don't even remember if it was the playoff at that time or if it was still the BCS. Do you think that is comparable to the college football playoff when you have opt-outs and all this other stuff going on?
No, I didn't bring that up. I don't know. I mean, but again, look, the big picture here is, one, you have to provide access because it's good for the sport and to give all these programs hope of just getting into the dance with 1 spot. And this will be the weird year we have 2. And also, it's an antitrust issue if you don't do it anyway. So I'm fine raising the bar a little bit. I mean, as like Herb Street said, how about top 16? If they can all agree, fine. But this whole idea that people are losing their mind, and these group of 5 teams need to have their own playoff, that'd be huge. No, it wouldn't be huge. It wouldn't be huge at all. And if that's what you're going to do to them, then just go to the FCS. Go to the FCS.
615-737-1025, our phone number. The Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode coming up next. I would imagine this conversation will continue. We'll have Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment. Let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant, now on Robby and Rexrode.
How about my rant is me slapping you?
So you can ask the bottle, but don't ask me.
I know that he just gets his jollies from this, okay?
And it's getting bigger and bigger.
Built to pound.
Then it's just total nonsense. Can you spare a square, Coach? Can you spare a square?
You know, Vrabel, I used to enjoy the delicious taste of a Camel Light.
So you can ask the bottle, but don't ask me.
I'm absolutely going Mason Rudolph over Drake May. Why are people still saying stupid crap like this?
It is that time of the day. Time for the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode. Nice slide into the Rudolph Drake May stuff there, Ian. Good stuff. Way to go.
That was timely.
That was.
Holiday
That was
and
good.
Game last night. So.
That was good. That was good. Joe, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so surprise ally in this conversation. You know, I got Kaharski sending me. If I would have seen this earlier, I would have sent it to Ian to play. But that's reporter. I don't know her, but she makes the case for the group of five. Which again, some of it is like, you know, you're just going to tell half the sport now you have no chance. You know, there has to be access. And again, getting to the tournament is a huge deal. Like when you're competing with your peers, that's a huge recruiting thing. I mean, it's her point was North Texas, South Florida, which by the way, I watched that whole game this year. It was a pretty awesome game. When I thought at that time that South Florida was going to be the group of five team. And I actually thought South Florida, with their offense, with their firepower, they could have caused trouble. South Florida's best version this year could have gone into, I think, either of those places and at least hung in. You know, I mean, like that defense, pretty talented too. They screwed it up. They blew it. I mean, they had some injuries, but also they lost to Navy. Navy's a tough matchup. Regardless, her point is like that game was huge on a Friday night. All of college football's watching it. Or, you know, a lot of college football watching. It had good ratings because it was a game with playoff implications, and you just can't take that away. So again, I'm not opposed to raising the bar to some, but this idea of like, well, you're like they have to be undefeated or whatever. I mean, sometimes like Boise State, you know, they got rolled by South Florida. South Florida lost at Miami, but they also won at Florida, and they also blew out Boise State. So that loss was not and should not have been disqualifying for them. It was later that they disqualified themselves by losing more. But yeah, it's just the bigger thing to me is like just over the past few years, it's like I'm watching the people who run this sport doing everything they can to condense it for the TV executives to say, here's our top programs. We're going to get them condensed together. We're going to have an NFL-like schedule. It's going to be just like the NFL. And that's the mindset of the TV executive. And you're cutting out huge swaths of the country in the process. And expansion has been so problematic in so many ways, including for this tournament. And just anything where you're now trying to exclude people, which is the same basic idea, really bothers me.
Well, the flip side of that is your fans that are going through all these changes too, when it's the most important time of the year, have to watch that crap that we watched the other night on the college football playoff.
Or just
watch the NFL game.
Or just not watch it all.
Okay, watch the NFL game.
Well, is that what you want? Like you want people to not watch in the first round of the playoff if you're college football?
You're going, like, again, you're going to have bad games. I'm with you on like the distinction, right?
It's a pretty darn important distinction.
Okay. But again, you do have in other postseasons, absolute, this is crap and it's not going to be good. And it turns out to be correct. And so, don't watch the game. The 1-16 game over here and over here, they were all blowouts. Okay. I'm not watching them. No one's watching them except for the fans of those teams. And yes, it's not apples to apples, but once you expand the tournament to this point, that's how you can provide group of five access, and you're going to have more blowouts, and you've had blowouts every single year.
I understand that, Joe. Again, there's a difference. It's football and basketball are totally different. The tournament's 68 in basketball. It's 12 in football. There's a physical difference in the way the game is played. They had no chance. Everybody knows James Madison and Tulane had no chance walking into those games. And that's what you are in the first round of your playoff. You had 2 games that everybody knows what the outcome is before the game. And again, I understand you're never going to get rid of blowouts. I mean, look, Ohio State went on a run last year where they kicked everybody's butt. They may turn around and do that again. I have no idea. Ohio State may get in here and just start destroying people once the playoff happens. But do we know that heading into it? I don't think so. Like, I think there's some intrigue to these matchups moving forward. And I'm trying to get to a place where there's some intrigue in every playoff matchup.
Well,
that
you're
would be
never
great.
going to have it. You're never going to have it. So
we didn't have intrigue. We didn't have intrigue in every matchup in the 14 playoff. Really? There was you never walked in and thought,
sure,
"Oh my God,
Robbie, we've expanded the playoff."
I understand that.
So again, that's why I make the
there wouldn't be
basketball
intrigue
comparison.
with Notre Dame playing Ole Miss instead of Tulane. Probably would.
Okay, again, get sued. Do that. I mean, you have to have access. The 2 this year is unfortunate, and it's not going to happen again. And if it's every year the group of 5 team is substandard, we know it's going to be a blowout. Well, will we in a given year be shocked that it's actually competitive? I think that could happen. But yeah, there may be a game where you're just like, well, good for them. You lucked out. You got the group of 5 team. But when you expand the playoff to 12 and then it keeps going after that, we're no longer worried about excluding a national champion. I don't want to hear it. Like I think Notre Dame and Vanderbilt were both good teams, and last year was a better year in terms of, I mean, the first teams out were a very flawed Bama team in South Carolina. There was no talk last year of, the champion could be out there, not in the field. But you're going to expand it more. You're certainly going to 16, right? So you're going to have the champion in the field. You're not going to have a team that could win it all outside the field. And this is the basketball comparison. Is the champions in there. The teams that are left out. Certainly, tons of teams are better than these auto bid teams. Tons of them. One of the great charms, and I know it's not apples to apples, one of the great charms is those conference championship weeks. One of my favorite things in sports is these teams that they just want to get to the dance and get there. And I think it's still awesome for Tulane and for James Madison to get that experience. And that is worth it, having a crap game, 100%. I mean, none of it's perfect. You're never going to be perfect. But if you weigh one side or the other of, oh, God, these games are going to suck, no one's going to watch them, versus all the other problems, if you just eliminate them, I don't think it's even close.
I think you're absolutely insane on this, but this will be a debate that rages on, I'm sure, for years at this point. Hopefully we don't get in this situation again where 2 of them are in there. That would be great.
Yeah, and I don't think we will. But that's why, the ACC and these conferences, and again, the expanded conferences cause a bunch of issues, but that's something that can't happen again. Miami should have been in that way, and then you have Notre Dame. Vanderbilt was going to get screwed either way, but then you have Notre Dame in the field too.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. Corey Curtis will be with us coming up next for his weekly visit. We'll get into the Titans win against the Chiefs. I'm sure another game will come up from this weekend as well. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Final hour, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Monday morning. And it is Monday at 8 o'clock, which means we bring in our good friend Corey Curtis from News 2 to the program on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Corey, good morning. How are you?
I will tell you what, I don't even know how to react. A victory Monday in Nashville, not just for the Titans. The Preds go 2-0.
A total victory.
Commodores win at Wake Forest. I really feel like, the world balances itself, and I'm in for a crappy day.
Well, I don't know. You're going to be at the Saban press conference later? That could be a real treat for all of us.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure that's going to be a joy.
Oh, boy. Do you want to go ahead and get your shots on me?
He has. I like that commercial he has where he owns the RB and the B&B.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's the homo. Yeah.
No
Check-ins at 4.
No showers.
Yeah.
No showers for 5 minutes. This isn't a spa.
That's right. Do you want to go ahead and get your
Debbie's melting in the hot tub?
Want to go ahead and get your shot in on me of the nice Chicago Bears victory this weekend?
No. You know what? They played 2 really entertaining games between the 2 teams.
It's probably a third coming up.
Yeah, could very well be. Having a quarterback matters. Those 2 throws by Caleb were pretty remarkable. And, fun to watch.
Well, speaking of remarkable throws, Cam Ward made a couple of those yesterday. 26-9 for the Titans against Kansas City. The offense, regularly at this point, Corey, the last 5 weeks getting into the 20s and 30s. So what did you make of Ward, his performance yesterday, and the progress that you're seeing toward the end of the year here?
Well, should have had 30. That was I still can't get over watching Jeffrey Simmons run right up to the official, hold his hand up and point to his number.
It's amazing.
And then not acknowledge that he reported. But he had a couple of misses in the first half. You got to take the whole thing in. All right. That opening drive, he's got DMR wide open for a first down in the flat, and he goes longer on 4th down to Gunnar Helm and slightly overshoots him. He goes out of bounds. No, that's a mistake that doesn't have to happen. He can make the easier throw there. And then there was another deep corner that he threw to Io Manor that he was a little short. You remember that one? Yeah. I mean, those are 2 misses. But as the game went on and they established the run game, he got better and better. And what I really want to focus on is the opening drive of the second half. It was 9-6. It was pretty clear they were the better team, but bad teams usually find a way to lose games even when they're the better team. So you're still wondering what's going to happen. And they come out and put an 11-play, 89-yard drive together. He has a huge 3rd down throw that was a dot to Io Manor on the right sideline, and he makes a nice catch. They didn't have a single penalty on that drive. He was under control. He was very good on that drive, and that drive, really seized control of the football game. I think in the last 3 games, he's got 6 touchdowns and 1 pick. In the last 3 games, the Titans have averaged 162 yards rushing a game. I think those things are absolutely connected. And, you have found with the team being better, it has allowed Cam Ward to play better. And I actually thought in the second half, he did elevate the team some with some of his plays. I mean, he made some plays. The ball to DK was really nice on the sideline. Got a huge block from Pollard there. So, the Chiefs are missing some people. That's still a pretty potent defense. And so the 26 number is a good number.
Yeah, and that drifting left dime to Io Manor. What? I thought DK was the one on the right side. Am I right? I had that mixed up?
No, you got him flipped. Yeah, it was Io Manor on the right side, DK on the left.
Okay. Yeah, so we're talking about the same one. Yeah. Both those are great throws. Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah,
so
they're great throws.
So I actually thought, Corey, today that we would have more people sort of lamenting the sliding draft choice while this is happening. But it doesn't seem like that's the case. I mean, obviously you move, the further you move from one, you're less likely to have someone desperate to come into your spot and give you a bunch of stuff to trade down, all that stuff. But what is your, if you taking those 2 things and weighing them against each other, like if the Titans can, well, look, I don't know that they're going to win both because the Jags are kind of a wagon. frankly, and I know you just love seeing that. But
but
even if you could,
3 in a row.
What's that?
Saints have won 3 in a row.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's actually a fun game with rookie quarterbacks.
5-1 combined over the last 3 weeks.
Woo, that's wild. Flex it. But if you weigh, a top, whatever, like let's say now realistically a top 3 pick versus like a win and maybe like a much better showing even against the Jags, so you have some momentum of how you're playing and some consistent winning elements of football. How do you weigh those two things against each other?
Well, you need picks, but more than you need picks, you need to pick well. Okay. I always say, a lot of these teams, the Eagles and the Chiefs, they didn't get good picking first. They got good making good decisions. And, you can find good players all over the draft board. Jamar Chase didn't go first. And we can go all over the place and find good players. The Titans got 3 good players in the 4th round this year. Now, they need some star players. That's for sure. And they need to hit on some of those guys early in the draft. But I think learning to win, creating an expectation of winning is very important. And I think more important than draft position for the Titans is establishing that this offensive line can get it done. I mean, if you can go into next season saying, all right, this 5 can get it done when next season starts. We're not gonna wait 12 weeks to run the football and to establish ourselves at the line of scrimmage, because they won yesterday at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. That's what won the football game. Their offensive line won and their defensive line won. That's where they won the game. And so establishing the offensive line to me, and that those 5 guys can get it done is way more important to me. Way more important to me. So I want to continue to see those guys continue to pave the road the last 2 weeks, and they'll have a challenge, especially the last week, like you said, because Jacksonville yesterday, like you said, it pains me to say it, they were a wagon yesterday. They were out of hand.
Well, Corey, it's been an interesting year to watch Jeffrey Simmons, because you could see some pretty visible frustration from him on several different occasions after the games this year. I thought yesterday was really interesting. He got up there and was basically like, this performance, this stuff from Cambor that I'm seeing right now is why I don't want to go anywhere. And I thought it was really good stuff from him. And if you're a Titans fan, I think that's got to make you feel pretty good about him, because there have been times this year where I've wondered, how long does Jeffrey Simmons want to sit here and put up with this stuff? And I thought that was refreshing to hear yesterday.
Well, I think, in years past, they said Jeffrey Simmons was a leader. This year, Jeffrey Simmons is a leader. And there's a big, big difference. And it's easy to lead when your team is 12-3. It's not easy to lead when your team is 3-12. And it says a lot more about you when you can help pull a team up rather than coast along. And so I do commend him, for the way he has, he's been frustrated and he's wanted more from his team, but, still has not turned on anyone. And the team has, I think Kevin Harlan said yesterday, this was the tightest 2-win team he's ever seen. And I said yesterday, this is the happiest 3-12 team I've ever seen in my life. And I don't mean happy to be 3-12, but just, there's a lot of teams that wouldn't still be happy to playing football right now. And they're still happy to be playing football. And you see it by the fact that they're getting better. But, even though his stats were limited yesterday, I thought Jeff was the best player on the field. When they lined up at the 2, I leaned over to the person next to me. I said, watch Big Jeff here. I said, he's about to get 2 points. he just blew through and got 2 points. He's been worth every penny he's being paid this year. And, you do have to have pillars, to build around, and they have to want to be there. When you hear stuff from Joe Burrow, about how he's not having any fun and everything, that's troubling. That's not leading. That's like putting up your hand saying, hey, I may want out. And everybody around you sees that. So I think Jeff has been vitally important in helping get this team turned around.
Did you know on that play that they were about to have no human being come near touching Jeff Simmons?
Yeah, no, I did not. I thought he would just simply
great
split
job
it.
by him,
Yeah.
but you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, yeah, and you know what's crazy is, you know, we talked to Matt Jones, the assistant offensive line coach last week, and we talked about playing Myles Garrett and then Chris Jones this week. He's like, yeah, you don't let their best player beat you. You know, you don't let them wreck the game. And I'm like, man, you talk about the one play that can wreck your game. You're on your own too, and you don't block it. That's unbelievable.
So Corey, this ascent, this improvement that we're seeing. Two questions. One, how much credit do you give to Mike McCoy? And two, how upset are Titans fans going to be when he gets the job full time?
Look, I told you guys a couple weeks ago, I thought he was doing a good job. I thought that the team was getting better, you know, that they had simplified things, and they've continued down the path. I think he's just taken things to a sane level, okay, where they're running the football. They're doing the basics, okay? They're not trying to reinvent offensive football with every play. And, you know, you're seeing that. Does that mean he should get the job? No, it doesn't. But it is okay to say that, you know, everybody wants to bash every coaching staff all the time. It's okay to say they've done a good job. It's okay to say the team's gotten better under him. And you know, that doesn't mean you have to give him the job. And, you know, I don't think that's a consideration. So, you know, I don't think you have to worry about anybody going crazy.
Save that clip, Ian.
Yeah, we could use that one coming up. Corey,
okay.
Great stuff as always.
Let me just add to that because I can hear the sarcasm in your voice. When this happened with Mike Mularkey was a coach that they wanted to hire before they hired Mike Munchak. So he was already on their radar and already somebody that they wanted possibly as their head coach. It was a far different situation than the one they're in now.
But it was a Mike, and Mike's just makes
That's
sense.
true.
It was a Mike. He did win 2 games as an interim head coach, and he did do it with a rookie quarterback. So there are a lot of parallels, except one's name was Marcus and one's name is Cam. There was a few others, but yeah, no, there's some similarities there.
Very interesting.
If they bench Cam the last
10 years
week,
later
on the road at Jacksonville, we'll know the symmetry is really happening.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Corey, Merry Christmas to you and your family. Appreciate you taking time to be with us today, and we will talk to you next week, my friend.
Merry Christmas, and as excited as I am to watch those Bears-Packers games, I do not want to play Green Bay in the playoffs. I do not.
Well, we'll see if the quarterback's healthy. See what happens on that front.
Yeah,
could be the league show.
He ducked his head into that hit. That's on him.
Oh, good Lord. It's not
You know
on
he
him.
did. He was aiming for his chest.
He was passing the ball. He was passing.
He lowered his head and got hit in the noggin.
Dirty players.
Clear targeting.
Dirty players.
Yeah, the Packers have been dirty for 20 years, evidently. My team has sucked.
No. Thank you, Corey. Appreciate it.
I enjoyed watching Rick Parsons.
Thank you. That was a cheap shot at the end there.
Wow.
That's cheap.
We can all just agree that the Lions suck, okay?
Good stuff from Dan Campbell yesterday.
Yeah, like you said on the YouTube chat, you know, take that field goal for a team that never converts anymore, and you are kicking to win at the end. But, yeah.
Good stuff.
Good stuff, yeah.
We'll react to what Corey Curtis had to say coming up next. Titans win 26-9 against Kansas City. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. DVD with Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan will be broadcasting live at the all-new Circus Sportsbook Kentucky, the Mint Gaming Hall today, prior to the Monday Night Football game. It's the 49ers and the Colts coming up tonight on Monday Night Football. Another look at old man Phillip Rivers. We'll see how that goes tonight for the Colts, who Joe, by the way, looking like the Colts are in some serious trouble when it comes to the playoffs. The Texans just don't stop winning, and the Jags are just going to win all their games. So Colts are in deep trouble here when it comes to the AFC playoff race.
So obviously they have to win tonight, which is going to be very tough. And boy, if they do or even come close, I'm looking at a like 5-1 with my lock week. Ooh, baby, coming up strong. But obviously, so they'd have to win out. So they must finish with the Texans then, right?
I believe that is the case.
But how much help do they need at this point?
I think if they got
Jacksonville,
the Niners, the Jags, and the Texans.
Oh, that's right. They have 2 more games. Yeah, so they have to deal with the Jag. Yeah, I mean, at least they're
toast.
Yeah, probably. But what a story if they. I am actually really excited for this tonight, just because like there's still a team that's in it. The game means a lot, and that scene at Lucas Oil with the Niners in a huge game of Monday Night Football with. I mean, I hope everybody out there has like Geritol, packets and like canes and stuff that they bring to the game and whatever, wearing like, adult diapers outside their pants and stuff like that to honor Phil Rivers. Let's have a night.
Can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see it tonight. And by the way, I mean, it's a shame that game in Jacksonville has already taken place, because what a scene it could be in the Milky Pool next week if Indianapolis won this game tonight, if they were going to Jacksonville. But alas, 2 home games in a row here for the Colts.
Yeah, then Phil could do like a rumba class at halftime in the Milky Pool,
exactly.
Play a little like jazzercise music. Missed opportunity.
Titans win 26-9 against the Kansas City Chiefs. Joe, your thoughts on Cam Ward, not only in yesterday's game, but the progress that it looks like we're seeing toward the end of the season here. What are you seeing from the rookie quarterback right now, and how valuable do you think this could be for the Titans as they're trying to piece this all together around him moving forward?
Yeah, I think it's good stuff. It's valuable. The most important thing is just to see him play well, improve. As we've talked about, there wasn't much inaccuracy yesterday, and there were, as we've also talked about, almost every week there's one throw, not every week, but a lot of weeks there's been 1 throw or 2 throw. You're like, ooh, and then you can string it together in a highlight package and say, okay, now let me show you the 3 or 4 passes that every NFL quarterback has to make, like in his sleep, that he didn't make. We didn't see that yesterday. I agree with Corey that there was some elevation. Yeah, obviously the first half was a grinder, very little really happening for either team on offense. But then they open it up, and yes, a lot of it was the running game and the offensive line, but they played off each other well. You can see what play action can be when you can actually move people up front. And so I think it's really good stuff for them. It doesn't guarantee anything. It doesn't like change that this is going to end up being an okay rookie season for a terrible team. That's still what's going to be in the end. But the finish of it is different. No question about it. And so I think it's important this week that they come out and build on this, and they're going to play a game that I think is going to be highly competitive. I think it's about as good a game between 2 crap teams that were not long ago in contention for the number 1 overall pick as you're going to find in this league, with the 2 young quarterbacks playing the way they're playing. And I think it would be a big deal for him to play well, build on it, and win this next game. But right now, I think you have to, if you're a Titans fan, whether you're a Cam Do or Ward or you're doing, you have to feel a little bit better today, don't you?
I would think so. I mean, we mentioned the numbers that Mike Herndon put out there earlier. They've got 24 or more points in 4 of the last 5 games. During that stretch, Cam Ward, a 63.6% completion percentage, 182.4 yards per game, 7 touchdowns, 1 pick, 1 fumble in that span. And he's done that, Joe. 3 of those 24-plus point outings coming against the top 6 ranked scoring defenses. Seahawks at 3, 49ers at 5, and Kansas City at number 6. And then, as Herndon points out, Myles Garrett also tossed in there as well that you had to contend with. So it's not only that the Titans are putting up better numbers and they're scoring more points, they're doing so, at least by the numbers, against some pretty good defenses. I mean, I know you watched Kansas City yesterday, Joe, and it's like, well, they look like a shell of themselves because, number one, their quarterback's gone. And then Minshew went down, so they were on their third-string quarterback. They're eliminated from postseason contention for the first time in like a decade. So I did wonder what sort of give a darn we were going to see from Kansas City heading into the game yesterday. But when you factor in, all those numbers that Herndon threw out there, it's still pretty impressive what the Titans have done the last 5 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, I thought the Chiefs came to play, like I said, in the first half. I mean, I feel like, again, you're talking about what? I was wrong earlier. I said less than 40 plays. It was 43 plays, 133 total yards. Just no chance on offense. And so your defense wears down. But like they came to play in the first half. They get up the safety like we were talking about with Corey. And Trey Smith is absolutely screaming at someone over there. They wanted to show up and be professional and win a football game because, again, you have 17 opportunities for all the work to be on the field on television in front of thousands in a stadium. And so you're going to show up and go ahead and play football, right? So they did erode in the second half. And, I mean, some of that is maybe just their situation or whatever, a little bit banged up as everybody is. But I think some of it is also just the Titans really executed and did some good things. Someone texts. I'm in the text line. Thank you, Chase.
Ooh.
Like Sean says, that Skoronski pull to the right late. They had some good stuff going with some some of the gap stuff and then again making some big plays downfield. And I agree with Robert Spears. I'm looking at Tyjae Spears right now, and I'm like, you know what? If he's gonna have that kind of elusiveness and power running through tackles, that's someone who could be a factor moving forward.
Titans win 26-9 against Kansas City. Take your reaction at 615-737-1025, our phone number. More on that coming up next. The NFL game of the week, the Cowboys and the Commanders coming up on Christmas Day this week at noon on 1025 The Game. NFL game of the week presented by Circus Sportsbook Kentucky and Macero in 12 South. This is Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. The college football game of the week, Penn State taking on Clemson in the Pinstripe Bowl this Saturday at 11 a.m. on 102.5 The Game. Who knows? You may see Dabo Swinney dressed up as Lou Gehrig out there. Coverage presented by Circus Sportsbook Kentucky, also available on the Game Nashville app and at thegamenashville.com. Joe, I know you're really looking forward to the Pinstripe Bowl coming up this week.
Yeah, and I know teams must be super pumped about that too. Like, let's go someplace where it's absolutely bitterly cold and play a bowl game outside. Yeah. And I guess if, Katie and I have been there, to do the Rockefeller Center thing with the tree and stuff. It's beautiful. So if that's your bag, as an 18 to 22-year-old college football player, then I guess you'd be excited. But yeah, I never really totally got the whole, hey, let's have some Boston and New York bowl games outside
in December/January. That'll be great.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Yeah. Taking your thoughts on the Titans, 615-737-1025. Joe, we had the discussion throughout the show of, the value of the wins and the offensive performance from Cam Ward and some of these young receivers and how you value that versus the draft positioning part of this as well. Obviously, with each game the Titans win, the worse their draft positioning looks. They went from number 3 to number 6 in the span of a day yesterday. So, there have been some Titans fans that we've heard from today that say, oh my God, they're winning these games at the end of the year that are totally meaningless. They're taking us out of contention for the number 1 overall pick. We're not going to be able to trade back. This is an absolute disaster. It has not been as many people as I thought. And I think, Joe, that there are Titans fans that look at this and say, yeah, would we like to have the number 1 pick at this point? Obviously. You'd love to be able to trade back, collect more assets, and come away with some better players to build this roster out around Cam Ward. But on the other side of that, you are seeing, I think, some meaningful progress from your quarterback. I thought yesterday's game was probably the best, if not the best, among the best games that he's played in a Titans uniform. And I've said it, draft picks are important. I think Corey put it well a few minutes ago that good picks are important no matter where you're selecting. I mean, and that's got to be the job of Mike Borgonzi. But the most important part of this organization, more important than the draft picks, more important than the next coach they hire, all of it, is the selection you made at number 1 overall this past year with your quarterback and Cam Ward the right one? Is it a good one? And the more that he shows that he can handle some of this, and again, it's not been perfect, but the better he plays, the more progress he makes, I'll take that if I'm a Titans fan, even if that means some wins at the end of the year. I know winning games in the NFL, it's a scary thought.
Yeah, listen, the one when I argued with Kaharski, it was about the one.
Yeah.
Because the one is different. You can potentially, although this may not be the classic year, again, Cam Ward, they got offered a decent haul last year for Cam Ward, who was not a Caleb Williams or Trevor Lawrence. Like, everybody wants this quarterback number 1 pick. I don't know what Fernando Mendoza is going to be. By the time we get to the draft, we may have decided that he's absolutely the greatest quarterback prospect of all time. But it doesn't seem like one of those years. I think there's some flaws that'll be discussed and all that stuff. But the one still, no matter what in any year, that can be different. Once you get away from that, well, sure, of course, the 3 is better than the 5, and the 5 is better than the 7. But I'm not making that argument anymore against the Kaharski who says that there is value in winning. And again, if the winning is being driven, they've had, one of their wins this year was exceedingly ugly, right? And it's sort of like you did have some big plays, but it was just like this gifted win, right? That was most of the day was just terrible. So winning with a core group of young players who are obviously getting better individually and getting better playing with each other, absolutely there's value in that. A lot of value in that.
Well, and then, Corey brought up beyond the quarterback, the offensive line. They have clearly, for whatever reason, and I don't know what it is, but they've played better the last few weeks. Ever since that Jacksonville game, where not only them, but really the whole team just got absolutely punked in that game, the offensive line has been good the last few weeks. And that's, Skoronski, I think, has been pretty good all year long, but Latham's played better. They've gotten better play, obviously, in the run blocking part of this with, being able to run the football effectively the last few weeks. pass blocking has not been an abject disaster like it was at times earlier this year. And they look like they're figuring some things out on the offensive line. So, Joe, I have no idea what to credit that to. I mean, Kowarski talked about on Friday about how the Jacksonville game was embarrassing for them, and they've made it a point of emphasis to not let that happen again since then.
Right.
I hear that, and maybe that's the case. I think it's fair if you're a Titans fan to wonder in the aftermath of that, well, good Lord, why did it take you as long as it did to the Jacksonville game to get embarrassed by something this year? And that's a fair question. But regardless of why it's happening right now, there is some definite progress on the offensive line, which outside of Ward might be the next most important thing with this group in terms of the roster right now moving forward. If you felt decent about them heading into next year, that would be a big turn from where we were, 4 weeks ago in that conversation.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've seen, certainly with Simmons, a fair amount of outward embarrassment. I think the story right now is that they're actually figuring out some ways to deal with it, to answer it. Whereas before, I mean, you can be mad all you want, but you just stink. And I think, I think with Latham in particular, we've been talking about him as the second most important individual. And I haven't seen, did Glennon put out his PFF grade? I don't know. I haven't seen it. But I also haven't watched the All-22 and frankly won't. But if there was an especially bad rep, like embarrassing rep for him yesterday, I missed it. I didn't see it. And I actually thought I saw some pretty good punch and lateral movement in pass pro from him. So that would be, again, if you're just like, okay, right tackle's fine. Is that possible to be there after 2 more games of the season? I mean, I think it's probably more like they only were going to look at that if it was just really bad. So to see him respond like this, which he clearly has, I mean, he's at least responded to the point of he's not pouting and he's not just a complete sieve out there. That's pretty significant for that front office, I would say.
Well, and I didn't know if that response was coming this year, right? I mean, we talked about it several times of like, all the intangible stuff that we knew about Latham in the draft process and the early parts here. I mean, there's, the video that the media took last year of him out there on the field working with Olga and Bertha in the middle of a thunderstorm. It's like, wow, this guy really wants it. Like but what he was saying and doing and that we knew about him and the actions of what was happening on the field and some comments even from his own teammates did not add up. And it was like, okay, well, what exactly is going on here? And is there going to be a response from J.C. Latham? So look, hand up, we were very critical of him throughout the year. It's only right to give him his due when he starts to play better. And he's not going to get to the point that I tried to hold him to this year in terms of you need to feel like he's a great player at the end of year 2 after having selected him number 7 overall. But it was trending towards maybe feeling like it was a disaster. And the fact that he's been able to rebound and kind of steady himself here, I think is good heading into the offseason.
Yeah. So you have a core. It's like, you still have to figure out a couple spots and, but every offensive line in this league has to figure out a couple spots.
Yeah.
They went with Zeitler this year, which seemed like actually a pretty good idea. Really didn't work out. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Dan Moore. You're probably looking at one more year of him. But I also think that like you at least need to have like a little bit better situation at swing tackle, But you have that group, and you feel like you could do something. You could run the ball. Who was the running back? Has Pollard done enough? That's an interesting question. Like we've been talking about Spears. We know the 3 rookie pass catchers are going to be part of it. I'll tell you another guy we haven't talked about today, but I like what I'm seeing is Chig.
Yeah.
I like what I'm seeing from Chig. I mean, he's out there even like giving people some physicality when he has the ball, which I don't think I've ever seen in his career. So I think there's a higher level of confidence there. So it's like if you can add a couple of big-time talents, and of course you have to add on the outside a big-time talent. I don't know. I mean, you might have something, and then there's really more work on the other side of the ball to be competitive. But like the Titans being a competitive football team next year, competitive as in they could still be, as of this point, or at least as of December, still in some kind of a postseason race. It's just not crazy at all. That's exactly what the NFL is designed to happen. You just have to make a lot of good choices in one off season.
Especially when you're being coached up the way that Mike McCoy's coaching them up right now. You just do that coaching job the way he's doing it, you're going to put yourself in a position to have a chance.
I mean, I got to tell you, I don't know, man. 10 years later, rookie quarterback, Mike takes over. Mike rallies the troops. Mike talks to Amy. I don't know.
There's some Titans fans throwing their phones right now, just throwing stuff all over the place. One more segment coming up next. We'll react to the Titans' 26-9 win against the Kansas City Chiefs. Nick Saban is speaking later today, new owner of the Nashville Predators. We'll get to Joe's thoughts on that as well.
What's your question for him? You need to tell us your question for him.
I got several questions for him. I thought about wearing a Vols polo today at the press conference, but I decided against it.
Ooh,
mainly because it's too cold.
You know, another thing that triggers him, see this MGO Blue cup?
Oh, yeah.
The Amazing Blue might get him a little bit triggered.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do a little bit later. More coming up next. If you're looking for a great spot to pregame before the final Titans home game this season, stop by John Bon Jovi's pregame with 102.5 The Game. JBJ's has the best food on Broadway, cold beer, cocktails, and stunning skyline views, including 2 epic rooftops. Pregame show brought to you by Parman Tractor and Equipment and Circa Sportsbook Kentucky. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. The Game Nashville Sports Network, your home for college football bowl games, presented by Twin Peaks and Parma Tractor and Equipment. Tonight on Sports Talk 830, it's Washington State taking on Utah State in the famous Idaho Potato Bowl at 1 o'clock, one of Rexrode's favorite bowl games. For a list of games carried on the Game Nashville Sports Network, visit thegamenashville.com/bowl games. We are taking your thoughts. Let's head to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Bob to the program. Bob, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hi, good morning, guys. There's two things that I'm looking at right now making me very optimistic. One is the fact that we've only lost to one team that didn't have a winning record. And the second thing is, I was one of those people wanting us to tank and get the number one pick, but after looking at the way that the rookies are contributing this year, I'm pretty confident in what Berganzi can do, so I can't wait to see what we can add this year's draft, plus what we get coming up on the next draft. I think that's the best part, looking forward to what we can get done.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate the call. I think a lot of Titans fans, based on our reaction today, Joe, kind of feel that way. I mean, look, everybody understands that the number one pick, if you can get it when a season's going as poorly as this one's gone for the majority of the year, would be great. But also, like when you see your quarterback start to have some things click for him, I think the wheels start to turn a little bit of what that could ultimately mean for your franchise, right? Like if the quarterback starts to figure some stuff out. And again, by no means do I think that Cam Ward is some finished project, or am I convinced all of a sudden that Cam Ward's going to turn into some great player? We'll see. But he is making progress. I think that part of it is undeniable, and that is unquestionably, I think, a good thing for Titans fans right now, and I think you're seeing some positive reaction to it today.
Yeah, again, I'm not trying to say that I doubted any of you or underestimated you. But I did think we'd have a little bit more arguing today on the whole, oh, my God, they're sliding down the board.
Same.
And not much at all. So I'm going to guess that, like, Stilly is going to scream about that and, and like, whatever, put out memes about sad turtles drafting Cam Ward. That was interesting. But look, it's new information keeps coming in. And I've felt varying degrees of confidence in Cam Ward this season. We're going to get through it, and it's not going to be looked back on as some stirring, amazing rookie season, but it is going to be low threes, mid-teens, probably touchdown passes, and some hope and some progress and some improvement, and still much more needed. And even a few weeks ago, I think we definitely had some more, I guess, pessimistic discussions about him. So he's never going to be some put a team on my back guy, but like we've talked about a million times, how many of those guys are in the league? Even if you draft first overall, you're probably not getting one of those guys. The Jacksonville Jaguars don't have one of those guys, do they? Is Trevor Lawrence incredible now? Has he turned into a superstar?
He's playing pretty well.
He's playing pretty well. He's playing well. He's a good quarterback, but look at what they've done around him to make his job easier. So now all of a sudden that team can win at a high level.
Hired a 16-year-old general manager. It's a bold strategy. It's worked out very well for Jacksonville to this point.
It's like Google.
And we want him to be nothing more than him.
It's like Google. It's like all these like kids running around and whatever. They work all these weird hours, but they just come up with this genius stuff that makes all this money. So I guess that's the way to go. Get rid of the dinosaurs.
I heard Liam Cohen talking again yesterday, Joe. Sean Payton earlier this week talked about for whatever reason, brought up like the market size of Jacksonville. And he was like, kind of a small market team coming in this week. But they're playing well, playing some good football out there. So we're looking forward to the challenge. And, Cohen, I think we've learned, is pretty petty. So they go into Denver yesterday. They win. He's like, I'm glad our small market team was able to come in here and get the job done at Mile High. So it's only intensifying my desire. I think Saleh, in all actuality, Joe, is probably like 4th or 5th on my list. But he's moving up the charts for no other reason than we could get Saleh versus Cohen for a long time, and maybe they'll fight each other after every contest.
Yeah, no doubt. I got to say, why would Sean Payton bring that up?
I don't know.
Small market team. Yeah, because Kansas City's, their market's a huge factor in their championships. That's weird.
They got a small market. They got a pool with a bunch of interesting folk in there at their home games.
That is interesting. But, yeah, he is petty. So that is part of my Saleh. That's part of my pros side of the list on Saleh. So I'm here for all that. And I got to say, man, he's done an awfully good job. Coach of the year, I think that comeback last night, that might clinch it for Vrabel, although Ben Johnson also has got to be right there, right? And then does Cohen start to get a little love for this?
I mean, yeah. I'm trying to find the odds. Let's see here. Of course, FanDuel has totally screwed up their app here, so I'll have to find it another time.
While you're looking for that, I did not see. I missed the handshake between Ben Johnson and Matt LaFleur. Was it icy again?
It was brief. It was very brief.
Just a drive-by handshake. Boy, tell you what, man, LaFleur almost. Someone was it Chip from Mount Juliet saying like Malik Willis is better than Jordan Love. Let's calm it down. Let's calm it down. He made some great plays.
He did.
Like you got to be impressed with what he did.
Look, in all seriousness, on the Malik Willis front, he's a free agent this offseason. I am very interested to see what happens with him. I don't think anybody's going to look at him and be like, "Yep, starting quarterback. Let's go get him." But he's obviously done pretty well for himself, and I don't know if he's going to be like some. Is he going to price himself out of being the backup at Green Bay? Is he go somewhere else and maybe a more tenuous quarterback situation where he would have a shot to play if the starter fails? Like I'm interested to see what happens with him.
I think he could at least be viewed by some teams as that's an intriguing QB too. And again, young and still could keep getting better. And also, if I were him, look at how I played in Tennessee. And then what has happened since I've gone to Green Bay and say, I kind of like this coaching staff. But then again, maybe you'll get your wish and LaFleur will get fired.
We'll see what happens.
I'm seeing Vrabel plus 210.
Yeah.
McDonald plus 300.
Yeah.
Ben Johnson plus 350. Cohen plus 600.
I mean, that's pretty good top four.
500, excuse me.
Pretty good top four.
That is. And the top three are very close there.
And Shanahan's actually tied with Cohen at plus 500.
That's another one that needs to be in there with all the injuries they've had.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. But, Shanahan, whatever. I mean, that's the thing, like Vrabel, like voters would be like, Vrabel has won this like 4 years ago. How about Ben Johnson?
Well, I thought
what a treat for Lions fans that would be.
Yeah, Derrick Henry punched in that second touchdown for him last night, and I was like, well, they're getting ready to just run New England right off the field here in the fourth quarter. And then Drake May goes right down the field for whatever reason, and I understand that, Tyler Huntley's in the game and you're trying to pick up some first downs. But for whatever reason, the last two drives of the game, Derrick Henry did not step foot on the field, which I thought was interesting. So a lot of conversation right now on the John Harbaugh front too.
There is. And I think we've shifted from Tomlin. No, never mind, to Harbaugh.
Yeah. Worth keeping
interesting.
An eye on.
Yeah, absolutely.
By the way, speaking of Malik Willis, we could get a nice Malik Willis versus Snoop Huntley quarterback battle on Saturday Night Football this week. Could be good.
Oh my goodness. Do you feel like Love won't play?
I don't know. I mean, it's concussion protocols. I have no idea.
Yeah. And it is one fewer day.
Yeah.
Although I guess they played Saturday, so it's basically just a week. But
and Lamar, another injury too.
Yeah,
huh?
man. He cannot stay healthy.
It's really and you just wonder if this is where it's starting to go that way for him, period.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
which sucks if that's the case.
By the way, Derrick Henry, 1,253 yards, 12 touchdowns on the year. So, he could. We'll see what he does in the last couple of games here, Joe, but he could end up, somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,500 yards again at his age.
Yep. Down year. Down year, 1,400 yards.
Woo!
So that'll put him at like 500 in 2 years for the Ravens.
Yep.
He's okay.
That's going to do it for us today here on the program. Hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your Monday. We'll be back 6 a.m. tomorrow. You're listening to 102.5 The Game.